Okay, so I'm gonna do these in segments. I'm gonna do the your first attacking phase on King's Row now, and then I'm gonna have to do the rest of it later because I have somewhere to be. But I'm gonna get part of it done now, just so that I don't have to do the whole thing later. It's only 5-6 minutes worth of footage, but it's something for me to get done in the 20 minutes or so that I have free right now. So let's get started here.
Okay, so they have a junk here and a Roadhog, Arusa. Let's try to rotate around the statue towards Roadhog here. He's by himself.
Davidson.
Okay, can you move through here? Let's move through here. To the right. Around the statue, around the statue. Come. There's no turrets, come.
Now, the movement through the choke there could have been a lot smoother. Poor Mango was trying to get you all to go through, but you were scared of the turrets. And that is a normal thing. It happens a lot. It's very common in low ranks to be scared to go through the choke for many reasons. Very near to the top of that list is Symmetra turrets, because they are a very scary thing with a choke point if you don't have something to clear them out. And right now, your comp doesn't really have much to clear them out. I would say the best option would be to have Farah fly over here, over this wall, and shoot out the turrets on both sides of the wall first. But from what you did, Panda could have actually made a play here. Let's back up 5 seconds. So Panda should have gone through the choke first as soon as Mango called it. The second Mango called to go through the choke, Panda should have been like, all right, we're moving.
Okay, can you move through here? Let's move.
Right there. As soon as you said, let's move through here, Panda should be walking through. Now, what's going to happen is he's going to realize he's getting pummeled by turrets, and what someone of lower rank would probably do in response to that is to go back onto your side of the choke where it's safe. What you should be doing is taking an angle here to block the fire from half the turrets and from the enemy team to give the rest of your team time to clear out these turrets and then these turrets. Then you can go forward with your plan to flank around this side. That's what you should be doing. Instead, you get scared by the turrets. Mango takes one for the team, and he actually does Panda's job here. He runs through, he makes a little space by placing his heels down. He gets rid of the turrets for everybody. You carried through the choke there, Mango. Good work. So this is also a really important moment. You can see here we have a pick onto the Symmetra. The enemy Symmetra is dead, and you have firm control over the space around the corpse. This is your space that you control, which means the enemy Mercy would be taking a massive risk to dive in there and res that. So what you want to do is move forward to about here to really ensure she can't get the res off, deny her that value. However, we can also see here that we have Junkrat and Soldier contesting this space that I just said you wanted to take. I'm going to let this play out before I go back and tell you what you should have done.
Shields 400, dropping.
Who's hitting me?
Okay, let it play out just for a second. Now, so we can see that... Now I'm going to back it up a second. I think Firefly jumps up to contest the Soldier.
Nice. Shields.
That's hard to see. Hold on.
There's no turrets,
Watching
come.
Firefly.
Sam's
Yeah.
by herself.
Firefly jumps up to contest the Soldier. The correct play there would have been to boop him off the high ground. That was like your main chance to get him off the high ground. Him being there is the only reason this push fails, because he has a really, really good positional advantage on you guys right now. So if you can't get him off of there, you have to respect that sightline and either push through here or move back around the stairway and get onto the high ground and take it from him. So if you can't get him off with a Farah boop or a flanker or something else, then you're going to have to do one of those two things. I would probably recommend... In this particular situation, I would be hoping that Firefly can boop him off the high ground or even just flat out win the duel. When that doesn't happen...
Nice. Shields 400, dropping.
Also, by the way, Firefly, you should have called out that he was up there sooner. When Firefly gets picked here, and you can see that you also have the Junkrat down, that means even if they get their res off, you're going to have a man advantage in this fight. Because you can hopefully res Firefly. From right here, you have three options. Because again, you cannot push this way while this soldier is up here. That's just not really an option. You have a few things that you could do. You could have Fizzy hook him off the high ground, which could work, but it's unreliable because he's playing the high ground pretty well. You could have, and I don't recommend this, but it's something you could do. You could have Lyris wall ride up and just contest him a little bit, maybe boop him off the high ground, push him back, do something to distract him while you maybe push in here to take this high ground. That would be the other option. The last thing, which I would actually recommend now that you see that you have 2 picks, is you fall back, disengage a little bit, go up the stairs, and contest this high ground. Most likely, the soldier will see you doing that, he will jump off the high ground, or he will even helix jump over to this high ground. I would more expect him to do this one. But that's fine, because the goal here is to get him off the high ground. It's not to just kill soldier, it's to get him off the high ground, because that's why he's able to do so much work. So what I would say is take your whole team and fall back using speed boost around the stairs, get on top of this high ground, use it to poke for a few seconds. You still have man advantage. Then depending on where the soldier goes, if he drops down with his team, initiate directly onto them from there, because the soldier no longer has that advantage. He can't just pile damage into you from behind. If he helix jumps over here or drops down and tries to get this high ground like that, then I would say you should... Let's see, what mobility do you have? You could have Fizzy easily hook him if he tries to take this high ground from up here. So, you know, your team is up here and the soldiers over here. You know what? There's a special thing for this. Hold on. Does it work? Come on. Oh, stickers. That's what it is. I've never used this functionality before. If soldier's over here and you have you guys, including Fizzy, over here, you could very easily have Fizzy hook him off of that high ground, either to get the kill, pull him into your team and kill him, or just to get him off the high ground. And once that happens, you could make a push from up here. The other option would be to drop down and circle back up and again contest his high ground, because you can't leave him uncontested up there. He's going to do too much work. And again, you don't have to get the kill, you just have to get him off of the high ground. So seeing that you have 2 picks, that would be the best response to this, because you can res Firefly, and best case scenario for the enemy team is that they go into the next fight as 5v6 if you can get the soldier off of the high ground. So that's what you should have done.
Who's hitting me? Soldier on the high ground? Soldier on the high ground.
Bring him back a little bit.
See, you should actually be following Lyris here. I don't think Lyris is meaning to initiate this plan that I just suggested, but she's going the right direction for it. Your positioning is really good for it.
Got one thing, other side here, other side. We can go through the building here, come.
So here's something. It's a viable strategy to push through the hotel. You see pros do it all the time, and it works, but they have a Junkrat. And you almost never want to push through the hotel when the enemy has a Junkrat. It's just too easy to get spammed out. Your tanks are going to die in an instant. It's not a good play. Respecting this soldier's sightline, you could either push mid, or seeing that he's now on the low ground, you could circle back around the other side of the statue. I would push mid from here, actually. I think that's the best call. Because again, it should be a 5v6 right now. They should still have somebody coming back from spawn.
Just low.
Rotate around the building. Come. Fast.
I'm about to get a shatter.
Hold on, Lyris. Why were you out of position there?
Oh,
I see.
Just low.
Oh, I see. You did do what I suggested. It just wasn't timed right. That's why Soldier was off the high ground. I totally missed that. So props to you for thinking to do that. That was absolutely a good call. You should have said, that kind of comes down to just general team synergy that will come with playing together, I think, is just knowing what you guys are going to be doing at any given moment. Like, if Mango knew you were going up there to do that, I think he probably would have said, let's stay this side, or let's play right here and wait for the soldier to be off the high ground, then we'll push into him, which would have been a really good choice. But he didn't know that was happening, so now it's like you're executing 2 separate plans. You have Lyris up here contesting the soldier's high ground, which is good, but it doesn't fit in with what the current plan is, which is to ignore his line of sight and play into the hotel. So, I'm not really sure if there are any good exercises that I know of for just generating good team synergy, but that does come down to just general good communication and letting him know, hey, this is what I'm doing, adjust your plan accordingly, that kind of thing. Because it worked. I mean, you got him off the high ground. He doesn't control the high ground anymore. That's a phenomenal play. It's just mistimed.
Rotate around the building. Come. Fast.
Should be on speed to get to them faster. You didn't have to be on heal all that time.
Nice hook.
Got another pick, and you know their Mercy won't have res yet.
Have to drop shield soon.
Okay, so let's see. Do we know where their soldier is? I don't know where their soldier is. I wish I knew where their soldier is, because I can't tell from this angle, and it would be really helpful to know. I'm pretty sure Firefly knows where their soldier is, and that's why he's playing the statue the way he is, which is the correct choice. I think you should, depending on where the soldier is, if he's on one of these two high grounds, you could go contest him again, boop him off the high ground. More likely than not, you will lose that duel, but getting him off the high ground long enough for the rest of your team to make a push, that's still fine, because you can see we have a pick here. So that means they would be pushing 5 into 4, basically, if the soldier is trying to take time to reclaim high ground. Let's let it play out a little bit.
Go on, Mercy. She's half. Mercy's half. Mercy's 1. Get in there.
Oof. This is not good. Symmetra in the backline. You really need to peel for this threat, because she's gonna melt your supports. Your squishies are not good if you don't turn around to deal with her.
Swing your hammer.
Sim's behind me.
As soon as she said that, as soon as she said Sim's behind me,
Behind me. She's on.
moves back a few seconds. As soon as she said that, Panda, you should not be going for an Earth Shatter anymore. You should turn around and start swinging at the Sim. The Sim needs to die. Or alternatively, you could hold your shield up here while the rest of your team peels for the Sim. That's still a 4-on-1. They're going to win. So depending on the state of your shield, either hold the barrier up to block this spam damage coming from the damage boosted Orisa and the Roadhog while the rest of your team deals with the Sim, or just turn around and kill the Sim yourself. Do one of those two things. Instead, I believe you go up for a Shatter, which is a really good Shatter mechanically. But the timing is really bad because you have not respected the Sim in the backline. And there is not going to be enough follow-up onto all of these targets, because you can see the attention is split now between the Shatter targets and the Sim in the backline, which I believe is why nothing dies up here. Yep, because everybody's still killing the Sim in the back. So then you go up and you basically try to solo 2 tanks and a Valked Mercy.
Nice ult.
Okay, so now you've turned around because Sim is down. This should be your fight. Where is the soldier? I don't know where the soldier is. As soon as I see him, I'm going to pause it again.
Karen, it's coming from their spawn.
There he is. There's the soldier. I can see his name. You made a mistake, Panda. Panda made a mistake here. I'm trying to think of a good way to explain it. So we have 2 Valked Mercies in play right now, which means the Sim could get rezzed. If I remember correctly, that actually might happen. And when that happens... Okay, so here's a good way to explain it. You know the Mercy just used Valk, which means she might and probably does have an available res charge, which means you need to be defending the space around where you got your last kill, because otherwise she's going to swoop in to res it. What you've instead done is left that space completely uncontested. You don't own this space anymore. The other Mercy can easily fly in and res it. You've left that space uncontested to do this, which is just not a good charge. It brings people away from the center of your damage. Like Fizzy here, his damage is close range, like any tanks. So by charging in like this, you're not controlling valuable space. You're basically claiming the space. You're basically trying to fight them over here when you want to be fighting them on point so that the Mercy has a harder time getting the Sim rezzed. But instead, you fight them over there. So Sim comes in, gets the res, just like I predicted. Okay, sorry about that random cut. I looked at the clock and realized I was about 10 minutes late for the thing that I said I had to do. So I am officially going to be doing the rest of the VOD review in a single sitting. Feels good. Shouldn't be another random cut like that. Sorry about that. So where were we? Right, so I had just said you don't want to be fighting off of the point right now because you want to make it as difficult as possible for the Mercy to get a resin on Symmetra. And that was the mistake that was made here, is that you all shifted over here and kind of left Mango alone over there. And first off, I didn't notice this earlier. That is a beautiful Helix rocket. A+ aim and prediction, bro. Anyways, so this, timing-wise, is a really good tactical visor that you're pulling out here, because hit scan ults absolutely destroy Valkyrie. It's a really good counter, but your team has abandoned you, and this is not your fault. You didn't call for them to go over there. You're the shot caller. You know, you said you wanted to push in from this angle, and that's what they should have done. But now they're all fighting over here, and it's this big, messy brawl that's all over the place, and this is not good. I mean, well, the kill feed would have you believe otherwise, because you guys are getting kills right now. But like I said, Sim gets rezzed. Their Mercy is still in Valk. Mango gets wrecked. Now, looking at this kill feed, I am very curious to analyze, I mean not the kill feed, looking at who's alive and on each team, I am very curious to analyze how the hell you lost this fight. I see the enemy Soldier 76 is up there. I believe he's about to kill Firefly, which is really unfortunate. And I gotta admit, so far doing this VOD review, I've had to think about stuff a lot. I do not blame you guys for not knowing what to do in the moment, because I've spent over an hour analyzing just the attack phase of your King's Row, like trying to figure out what you could have done better and why they won, and it's been difficult. So I don't hold it against you guys for not being able to figure it out. If I was in game playing, I wouldn't have been able to figure out what to do, I don't think. I mean, I've had to analyze it just to figure stuff out. So let's see what happens here, because I know you lose this fight.
Just going down.
Okay, so where does the Symmetra... So the Symmetra kills Mango. Okay.
Just going down.
Firefly kills the Symmetra. So the Soldier does, just like I predicted, get a kill onto Firefly. This should still be your fight, because people are still coming back from spawn. The whole hog was really, really effective at clearing you guys off from point control. Is there anything you could have done about that? You let your shield... Okay, so Panda... This was a misplay from Panda a little bit. He should have blocked some of it, let it push him back a little bit, blocked a little more of it, let it push him back a little bit, you know, spread out the effect as much as possible. It probably would have meant you got pushed back here rather than all the way back here, because what happens here with this whole hog is he just totally takes point control back from you guys. And then... Are you about to res Mango? Yes, okay. You're in the hotel with the Junkrat? Yeah, could have predicted that. That was unfortunate.
I got you.
Soldiers, can we hook Soldier off?
Gotta turn for the Junkrat. You gotta turn around for the Junkrat.
Yeah.
Okay. Busy. No, you should have hooked the Soldier. He jumped off of the high ground for some reason.
Up there myself right now.
Now he's just in the back.
Oh, he's on a little bit here.
This is a really, really messy fight. The respawns have come in. Now they have teleporter. They have point control. This is lost. Reset.
Hold on. Let's reassess this. So...
That's just so messy. It's so messy from a tactical point of view that I'm having a hard time picking it apart strategically. There's just so much going on. It's like, you know, sometimes you get fights that are clean and decisive, and it's very easy to figure out, you know, this happened, and then you were able to snowball. But this is just all over the place. Okay.
We need to contest that soldier. I might just go up there myself.
Yeah, you do need to contest the soldier. Now the soldier's on the low ground. Now Fizzy, when you were asked to do it, you should have turned around and hooked the soldier off of the high ground. You could have done it. He was not playing carefully. He was playing the edge of the high ground. So now Panda is in too deep where he is now. He needs Lyris's help to speed boost back. And maybe the three of you can collapse onto the soldier and then fall back and make a new push from here with man advantage, assuming the enemy Mercy doesn't get res back up. That's what I would call for here, is to have Reinhardt get back, because Panda is very overextended. And I know he's in the trap, but he shouldn't have been in the trap to begin with.
He's one there.
Just
on hog.
So
Okay,
messy.
back
Yeah,
up,
back out.
I have another shatter.
Man.
Hold on, let's reassess this.
So, I think the theme there in losing that push was weak tank play. I didn't see anyone else make any massive misplays than Fizzy and Panda. Panda should have dealt with the whole hog better. That was on him. He should have not charged in alone afterwards. He shouldn't have charged in alone to begin with. Fizzy could have done something about the soldier, but he didn't. So Fizzy, next time someone calls for you to hook somebody, try to make an effort to do it. Like, find the person that they're asking you to hook. I don't know. Like I've said, I spent an hour analyzing it, and that's still all I got from that. I'm sure there's more to be gotten from it, but I can't figure it out. So let's just move on to the next push.
So
if you've got specific questions, I'll still try to answer them, but I may have to go back and look at it for a while.
I'm back. Oh, I got hooked.
That's unfortunate. I didn't see your positioning. When you're resetting, there's nothing wrong with just literally waiting inside of spawn.
Not comfortable on Farah, just go with something else.
Definitely, let's go for Shatter.
I would switch off of Farah here. I would absolutely switch off of Farah here. You're getting outplayed / countered. It's a weak choice into the soldier. I've never seen you kill him. I've seen him. I think the soldier has been the cause of every single one of your deaths except that last one where you got hooked by the Roadhog. I think you should switch to... I would like to put Mango on Genji and put you on one of your comfort picks. The team comp needs to change at this point. Whoa, that's insane. Their Roadhog already has whole hog again. Sorry, getting distracted. I would like to put Mango on Genji and assign him the task of dealing with the soldier, distracting him to make a push. Then I would like to put Firefly on probably Soldier or a hit scan. You could go Sombra. That's a comfort pick for you. And you still have time left on the clock to build up an EMP and use it. So that's what I would do. I would put you on a hit scan, either Soldier or Sombra. You should definitely switch off of the Pharah. Staying on the Pharah is a massive mistake here.
I'm comfortable on it. The soldier's just kind of...
Does anyone know where the teleporter is at all?
He's kind of been uncontested outside my ground the whole time. No hook, hog no hook. I'm recharging shield.
Over there, behind the gate.
Behind the gate, okay.
If we can break shield, I can
to the right
Panda
statue
stepped in the
here.
trap. That's unfortunate. Okay, another misplay from Panda here. The Shatter, again, mechanically was good, but he didn't call for it at all. At least not that I can hear in the comms. You know, Mango was saying to push right. He expended dashes to get over there, and then all of a sudden there's a massive Shatter that comes through. Like, this could be, you know, fight winning right here. But you weren't in position for it. Panda should have called out, hey, I'm about to Shatter. Or even Mango, you could have looked at it and you could have said, look for a Shatter here, Panda, and you could have been watching for it. You know, either of those would be acceptable. This is a fantastic Shatter, but it's not well timed.
Oh, on Sim. Sim 1.
See, it was a little bit slow.
It's coming from the statue.
So you've traded evenly here.
I'm down.
Don't push into this. Don't push into this. You should see the supercharger. Back out. Just don't push into a supercharger. Let them have the point for another 10 seconds. Give it time to let Fizzy respawn, and don't push into that. This is a mistake. You shouldn't be committing into this right now. Supercharger is gonna wreck you.
Come back.
Yeah, you fed them ult charge for no reason.
We're taking too long to decide what to do. It's too long to go in.
I would like to get the teleporter, but probably just ignore that.
I'm gonna go Somber. I can contest the
You guys
Soldier.
fed by pushing into the supercharger. You had no immediate way to deal with it, so you should have just backed
we have
out.
Sombra now. That's perfect. She can just sneak around and get the teleport.
The problem with having this Sombra now is that 2 minutes is usually the cutoff time for when you want to switch heroes. Usually, you know, if you're desperate, you should still switch off of the Pharah because you're being counterpicked and stuff like that. But you should have done it to push before.
We can work on focusing in. Are we going right or left?
Just go right. There's less people here.
Also, another thing that I just realized, they're running an insanely spammy comp. There is so much to work with Zarya here. You should whip out a Zarya. Absolutely.
On the Roadhog, on the Roadhog.
You could snowball into them with a massive charge.
Okay.
There's no turret. Sim's half. Sim's half-ish. Sim's half. Sim's
Okay,
half.
they're peeling for Mango. They're peeling for Mango. Okay, when they peeled for Mango.
Sim's half. Sim's half still.
Speed boost.
Panda keeps stepping in traps. Alright. You needed Panda to go in, Lyris.
On Mercy here. She's right here.
Okay, you got the res, you've got Valk. This is
right side, rotate right
advantageous.
Symmetra's diving
Deal
down.
for the sim.
Let's go down.
Panda needs to turn around and deal with the sim.
Behind you guys.
You in another trap? Yeah, you're in another trap,
I
Panda.
got it.
Okay. And we're gonna wait for the rest of the team here, Firefly.
Man, I'm sorry. These are just so all over the place. It's really hard to pick apart. Here, I'm going to back it up. I'm going to do my best to really reanalyze this from start to finish. All right, so
Sim's half still.
Panda steps in the trap. You should have called that you were trapped. Lyris shouldn't have gone in to help Mango. I know it looks like he needs help, but the best choice is to let Mango divide the attention. He's got 3 people on him right now. You could push into this 5-3, and even if they get the kill, it won't matter because hopefully you'll already have won the 5-3 fight. Panda should be saying he's trapped, that he's stuck, that you can't go in yet. Mango has the mobility to stay alive back there, I believe. So Lyris shouldn't have gone in. Yeah, you're too deep, Lyris. That's what happened.
On Mercy here. She's right here. Gotta get some heal.
Sim went back here alone. Completely unprotected. You have speed boost that you just rezzed, and you also have Valk. Everybody should be piling into the speed boost and following the Sim to try to take the high ground and kill 2 birds with 1 stone, basically. Take the high ground and also get the Sim down. Instead,
Heal.
you just
Right side,
leave the
rotate
Sim
right
there.
side.
That's bad. Then the Sim drops down into your back line.
Let's go down. Teleporter's down.
That's good. You got the teleporter. That was actually absolutely brilliant.
Uno.
Soldier. How did the Soldier get back there? Man, there's so much going on. I have no idea how
rotate
Soldier
right
got
side.
back there. His Soldier just... How long has he been hiding there?
Symmetra's diving down.
Okay, well, Soldier's back up there too. You didn't know that up until he started shooting at you.
Do you know where the teleporter is?
He's ulted behind you. If Fizzy can't get a hook off, you should call to disengage here.
Where is, you said?
It's down. I got it.
Okay.
Yeah, this fight's lost.
And we're gonna wait for the rest of the team here, Firefly.
We need to kill the Sim first, though.
I'm sorry I'm having such a hard time breaking these fights down. They're just
Keep rotating around
all over the place. There's so much
statue.
happening.
It's really easy. My bad. Don't res me. I'll be back soon.
Oh, wow.
It's unfortunate, Firefly.
Me to go now, though. This is the last fight.
Yeah.
I can get my.
And you have no ultimates. That's really bad.
Okay. Rotate right around
Dude,
the
we're like right around the
statue.
corner.
So analyze this. Analyze this. You can stand in the choke for just a second to see what's happening here. There's somebody right here. Probably, I think that's their Roadhog. He's probably looking to whole hog you back. You should see their Soldier. Your plan should be to loop around back, like I mentioned before, to push him off the high ground. It's better to have the whole team contest someone on the high ground than leave them completely uncontested for the whole fight.
Corner.
Hey, let's contest the soldier if you can, Firefly, right now.
Okay,
Where is he up?
that's a good
top?
call.
Oh, Sim's coming in here.
Your tanks are left down there with no healers.
Guys, our tanks are stuck in the back.
Yeah,
Can't do
that's
anything.
bad. The tanks, in fairness, the tanks should have followed. You didn't call for them to, but they should have
What
known.
happened to rotating around the statue on the right?
Yeah,
Half
that
the
last
team went
push
up
was
the
a
stairs
mess.
and then half the team
Very,
stopped
very
at the
messy
door.
from you guys.
We need to go
Okay,
behind our
I should have
tanks.
clarified. It was just me and Firefly going up.
I think it was because you started to panic that you weren't very clear about what needed to happen, and maybe you weren't thinking straight. I get it. It's a stressful situation. It's hard to think clearly in the middle of a game. Should have had everybody pile up here, knock out the soldier, or get him off the high ground, then either follow him onto the other high ground or initiate directly onto point from there. That would have been the best options, because their positioning this map was phenomenal. They had great positioning, most of them, and you guys didn't really know how to outplay that or contest that. And also, there were a lot of problems with your tank play, I noticed, both from Panda and Fizzy. They were not doing a good job of controlling space and using their abilities. So that the increase in tank play would have made a massive difference, and understanding the importance of controlling the high ground, even just to make sure the enemy doesn't control it, also would have made a massive difference, I think. Those are the general reasons I think you never managed to cap the point. I'm really sorry that I've had such a hard time analyzing these fights, but they're just so all over the place. I've done the best that I can, I think. Anyways, so for some reason it recorded the VOD in multiple videos. I don't know why, but I have here the link to the next one, so we can just move right in. Load it up. Perfect. Yep, perfect.
So they are doing this quick play style on purpose? Is that what it is? Or was it?
Well, they're running triple tank.
They're all coming through top.
Okay, so I'll back it up a little bit more.
Choke.
You got Roadhog, Reinhardt, dude. They're running triple tank.
They're all.
Yeah, they are running triple tank. Okay, so remember
They're
what
all
I said
coming
about
through
triple
top?
tank. The counter is to not let them
Yeah,
have
they're
point
all
control.
going.
Initiate onto them, pile damage onto
Okay,
them.
crap, they're going high ground here.
They're coming around back. They don't really.
There goes that soldier taking really good positioning.
Okay.
Put a soldier up there.
Yeah, someone needs to tell Fizzy to go kill this soldier or duel him, because he cannot be allowed to be up there taking free shots. That's what happened your whole attack
On the right
phase,
here?
and that's why you never took the
I
point.
see the soldier.
So,
Mercy's weak.
Ryan's low.
See the
Soldiers in window above the point.
now something to keep in mind here is if you manage to fend them off here, you should probably try to switch off of Winston at your earliest convenience, because Winston is not good against tanks. And Mercy is already pretty hard to die. Playing into Diva, Reinhardt, Roadhog is not going to be worth it as Winston, I don't think.
Point if you can fly up and get
Lucio
him.
dead.
Yeah, I see you.
Good rest, Lucio.
Thank you. Thank
Mercy
you.
get that here. Mercy get that.
I'm down.
They're mercy dead. They're mercy dead.
That's up.
Soldier.
Okay,
Right
let's
here.
back it up a little bit more. So you need to have Fizzy go and contest the soldier so that he can't do work. I believe he gets a pick. Man, the video quality is not very good. I think this is... I gotta press play for a second.
Yeah, I see the soldier.
Yeah, that's your Winston, and then you got your Sombra up here.
soldier.
Mercy's weak.
Ryan's low.
See the soldiers in window above the point if you can fly up and get
Lucio
him.
dead.
Yeah, I see you.
Good rest, Lucio.
Okay, so no frags have happened yet.
Thank you. Thank
Mercy
you.
get that here. Mercy get that.
I'm down.
Okay.
Mercy dead. They're mercy dead.
So they got what they wanted. They got to brawl you on point, and the triple tank is going to win the point brawl every time. So you needed Fizzy to contest the soldier so that their damage output was minimal. And then you either needed to engage them the second they dropped off the high ground, or you needed to disengage off the point completely and push back into them. Those were the two things you should have tried to
Is
do.
anyone else still alive?
Yeah.
I'm alive.
Not anymore.
I don't think.
They can still contest.
Okay, let's contest this with Firefly, because.
Yeah.
That was all I
Honestly,
I'll
it's
just
so
remind
one-sided.
you.
I'm
We
having a
have the
hard
backup.
time
Never mind.
figuring out what advice to give you guys.
Just regroup.
I'm really sorry about that. This is a particularly hard scrim for me to look at. Panda needs to be backing out right now. He shouldn't be here. He should still have jump off of cooldown, and he needs to just jump back. If he gets picked here, that's really, really, really bad. He's just feeding.
So I got bad spawn.
Yep.
Right.
Careful,
Lee,
Fizzy.
come back.
Speed boost yourself back. Don't heal amp there.
Back up a little bit. I'm gonna go taxi.
Okay, yeah, I've got EMP here. We can do some stuff.
Okay, here's the plan. We'll do EMP and visor.
Okay, they're about to push around this corner.
That's a great
We're
plan.
gonna stay on
Start
for the
whenever
range.
you're
We
ready.
should really go Reaper.
Yeah, why don't we push it forward?
Yeah, I'll
here?
do that by Israel.
Let's go forward.
Okay.
Alright, ready?
Panda's
ready?
positioning is off here.
3, 2, 1.
Hooks,
Okay.
thank you.
Ready MP.
Soldiers got tac visor. Who's
Ron's
hanging
still on the
back?
payload here.
All over here still.
Hog has ult. He's low.
You're dead.
Back up here, start backing up.
Back
Matrix
up.
up.
Come back,
Matrix
come back,
up.
come back. Cool.
Visor. Who's
Ron's
hanging
still on
back?
the
So you guys initiated pretty well here.
Ready MP.
When the EMP, see what they're doing here. They are completely disengaging. They're not trying to fight this out in any way. They're just hiding in the pub and hiding around the corner, and they don't want to fight this. That's a really good disengage off of them. And they also
Soldiers,
killed
keep it up.
Firefly in the back, which is really unfortunate. You did get the diva out of mech.
Visor. Who's
Ron's
hanging
still on the
back?
payload here.
All over here still.
Hog has ult. He's low.
Fizzy
he's
should
low,
be eating
he's
some
low.
of the ult with her defense matrix. Give him time to
Back
burn
up
the
here,
hog.
start backing up.
Yeah, your mercy's
Back
down.
up, come back,
Matrix
come back,
Give
come
him
back,
space,
come
give
back,
him
come back,
space.
come back. Cool. Come on, let's go.
Lucy's one.
Come back.
Oh. I think I'm good. Never mind.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Okay.
Staggered
I'm
you
not
to,
sure
to
Winston is
just
the right
control
pick
streets.
since he doesn't have a dive partner.
Yeah, you should switch off the Winston. You don't want to be on Winston into this. I would also pick a Junkrat. Junkrat's really good against triple tank. He feeds his ult so fast. And then there's nothing they can do about it. This is not a good use of your ultimate, Panda. You might be planning on switching afterwards.
Keep us out of car.
Careful.
She's trying to... Couldn't tell if it was to get her mech back or to just zone you. Why were you in a position where you could get hooked? Hold on. Yeah, you shouldn't be there. You shouldn't be there. You should be playing back here. Take this high ground even, maybe. Just to deny it from them in any way. You shouldn't be facing up there right now. You don't even have half your team. So, and Lyris, you should... Oh, wait, no, that's not Lyris. Is that... Oh, I think that's Firefly. Yeah, that's Firefly. I couldn't tell from the silhouette. You should back up too, I think.
The map is
Diva's weak.
Here. Never mind.
They're regrouping.
S and let's see.
Okay. Once
I
you
have my
were...
visor right here.
S.
So, from this position, Panda, you should try to boop somebody back into your team so that they can get melted. Preferably a squishy, but, like, the hog would work fine.
S and let's see.
You almost do that.
I have my visor
He
right
corrects,
here.
though.
I
Oh,
don't know
careful,
if you
Fizzy.
can- Dude, you said
That was
it
almost
right
really
here.
bad.
Any other
You
ults?
shouldn't be there, Panda.
You can.
I'm spending too much time looking at Panda, though, because Panda's not on the team. I just remembered, so
Okay.
look at the rest of this.
Diva's weak.
So you know Panda has basically initiated the fight. You should follow him in here. I would dive the soldier up there. Yeah, you could jump off the cart and get onto the high ground. Any of you could do that. Fizzy should jump up there and start dueling him while Panda is blocking off the rest of the cart. You should speed boost Reaper up into the tank so he can start brawling it out, build up Death Blossom, and start, tank busting. Mango your positioning is actually okay, but you have to keep in mind that the other soldier has the high ground right now, so you need to probably get back here, I would say, unless Fizzy is going to go start dueling him.
Let's see.
None of that happens,
I have
though.
my visor right here. I don't know if we could make good use of it right here. Any other
If
ones?
you
Emergency
can,
one? Emergency
if you
two?
can
Emergency
get their
one.
healers, it's always a good visor.
Giving them a lot of free cart push, which is what their
Chat.
thing is for. Fizzy should be up
Any
here
other
on the
ones
cart
coming
right
up?
now,
Let me know.
using defense
I got that
matrix to block damage from the soldier to make space to burn the tanks.
That's awesome right now.
Okay. Why
We
don't
can-
we-
Because
Yeah,
even as an off tank, your job is still to make space. You know, you have other jobs like peeling and stuff, but you can still make space for your
try to
team.
push him off payload here. Maybe you can hide up
Be
there.
careful,
I
there's soldiers
better
on
not see
soldiers.
that shield drop for more than a half second, Panda. You need to walk your team up to this corner so that you can send someone to deal with the soldier while the tanks are struggling to deal with you.
Soldier is behind them.
Or actually, let them push into us a little bit. Go hide like somewhere. I don't know.
I disagree with that.
And then go death boss and on them.
Back up, back up, back up.
Can you go hide up there? Is it possible?
I don't know. Whatever.
Shield up, shield up, shield up.
Okay. I'm hitting hog. I'm hitting hog. Let's
Okay,
go
I'm
for
doing
death
it.
blossom right here. Go. Yeah.
Panda's shield placement was off.
I'm
was
on
a
right
good
here.
death
Ryan
blossom.
slow, Ryan slow.
I got emergency.
Then you got outplayed by the soldier afterwards.
Got him. Nice. Lucio on payload. Lucio low. Nice
I wonder if
charge.
that soldier's a smurf.
Keep pushing deep
Diva,
elite.
diva, diva, diva.
Maybe that's why the game feels so one-sided.
Dagger.
A little bit, yeah.
This is a really nice stagger, by the way. Good
Yeah,
job.
There you go, there you go. No, back up
Painfully
to the
staggered.
corner.
Back
I
up,
got a
back
shatter.
up.
We got a deep pump.
Okay, nice. Why don't we try using those?
Now,
two?
in between pushes, you should start trying to think about ult economy. You should know they have their support ults. You should know they have shatter. You would be forgiven for not knowing about these two, I believe, because self-destruct was fairly recent.
If you guys can break it.
So knowing that they have shatter and both support ults, you are going to need to probably... Well, you're definitely going to want to put Panda on blocking the shatter. See if you can do that. You have to play very carefully now, because they have support ults. So what that means is you're going to have to probably disengage when they try to make a push.
I think we need more of my
You want to wait for them to use a support ult to disengage. This is very, very bad, Fizzy. You shouldn't be here. You shouldn't have gone up alone. There was just no need to do it. You're waiting for them to come out here, because again, you know that they have their support ults. So you know that they're going to be looking to get aggressive here and use those support ults to win a fight. So you shouldn't be aggressing just yet, because you know you're probably going to want to disengage.
I don't remember.
So this is really, really bad positioning, Fizzy.
Okay, I'll be using my visor here. Look for a shatter.
He's just gonna go down here.
Rex, Rex.
Hog low.
Nice,
Got
nice,
him.
nice, nice. That's fine, that's fine.
It's unfortunate your shatter whiffed.
Maybe not fine.
So that was very, very clean off of them. They threw a self-destruct into a shatter. And they still haven't used their support ults.
I'm down, I'm down. Nice
Okay.
bomb.
He's your ult.
Yeah.
Would have thrown that up. I would have tried to put it more back here, just because that means that they'd have to turn around to block it, and that would leave them open to damage from you guys.
Here in the back.
Bird's coming for you.
He's
One,
one.
she's one, she's one, she's one.
Crap, I suck.
I have res in 5.
Reaper 1 still. He's in the back. Care.
Yeah, this is
Nice,
kind of
nice.
panic mode. You just have to keep throwing
Oh,
bodies on
Roll
point.
up your shatter.
Oh, no.
You can install.
Screw me.
Watch the edge, watch the edge. They're throwing people off.
Can we kill this Ryan?
You can call targets like that.
Coming. Nice, 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 nice.
That is a good shatter. That got a support ult out, but
Oh,
and the whole hog finishes it.
Oh no.
would have helped if I warmed up.
Off. Nice
Hey.
bomb.
Got him.
You know, I don't know everything, guys.
If you guys can break shield.
I'd be top 500 if I knew everything.
We'll see. Did they use beat? I don't know.
And I'm having a very hard time analyzing this one.
Okay, I'll be using my visor here. Look for a shatter.
How did Firefly get where he is? Oh, I didn't need to back up 20 seconds. Whoops. Oh, I see. So you were waiting up here. That makes sense.
Need more on my visor too. We'll see.
Fizzy, that's very bad. Don't do that.
Did they use beat? I don't remember.
So they capitalized on that.
Okay,
They
I'll
knew
be
to
using
push,
my
to
visor
get
here.
aggressive.
Look for a shatter.
So he's whole hogging to break your shield. You can't let him break your shield. Let it push you back. Otherwise, the shatter's going to come through. And Firefly, you could try to bait out a support ult here by piling damage onto the Lucio, but be prepared to get out of there in a jiffy.
He's just gonna go down here.
Rex.
You shouldn't have backed out there, I don't think. You should have tried to get a support out.
Nice. That's fine.
So, yeah, their plan worked. Your barrier broke. You went for the shatter. It hit. Then they threw in the Diva Bomb.
Nice. That's fine.
Really good execution off of them. The only thing for that would have been to not let the barrier break from whole hog. You should have taken the knockback. Basically let it disengage for you. That's the only thing I can think of that would have made a difference there.
Nice bomb.
He's your ult.
Yeah.
Aim for the
He's coming
support.
in.
Here in the back.
First coming for you.
He's one.
He's one.
Crap, I suck.
I have res in 5.
Yeah, that's all I can think of.
He's in
And
the
then
back.
we're in
Care.
throw bodies onto point mode, so. Yeah, I think that's that.
Through me.
Watch the edge. They're throwing people off.
Hey, can we kill this Ryan?
Coming. Nice.
Oh,
Oh no.
would have helped if I warmed up. Crap.
That's alright. We got stuff to learn from that.
We'll watch the play of the
This is
game.
my first time playing like DPS in this kind of environment, really. So I'm
Oh
Getting a
wait,
bit of lag
I
here.
have to record this.
I'm streaming.
Okay, cool.
Panda, have we played together before?
We have.
Okay, I thought you
Yeah, I
sounded
was gonna
familiar, and then I wasn't sure.
I think
Yeah, I
we
played
probably would've
DPS on my
held
team.
it.
Oh,
Alright,
are you subbing?
let's
You know
skip
that
on
way.
over to the next map. We got Hanamura.
Okay.
If we're gonna do fair, I think you should tank.
So, like I said, the answer to triple tank is to pile damage into it.
Because I don't think they sold. I think they had a soldier, right, the entire time?
Yeah.
They did, yeah. It wouldn't hurt to have that kind of DPS on our side.
30 seconds. You should choose.
Yeah, I'll choose soldier or McCree. Okay, I'm just thinking about which one.
Okay.
I mean, I think maybe soldier, because I think it's a little easier to take advantage of the high ground on this map. But up to you.
It's true. I'll just blame.
Also, they weren't really running real flanky comp, so the longer range would be useful probably.
Alright, I'll just play the choke here.
Roadhog, runner.
They have a diva
Just
too.
option for a second.
Damn, hog again.
Panda let Fizzy get hooked
They're
there.
back on triple tank. They like their
We
triple
have no
tank.
Mech Diva.
Now we know.
Well, that's good. Now we know what they run.
Alright. What tank?
Soldier half there.
Firefly, you can be pelting rockets in from up here. That'll scare him off. They're making a massive mistake by not just charging through the choke point right now, because that's what triple tank is supposed to do. You just walk in and start brawling. So they're making a massive mistake. You can take advantage of that by spamming rockets in here. That's another reason I would have liked a Junkrat against triple tanks. It's very good to spam them out.
Anyone getting meaningful ult charge here? Starting to move in.
You could throw a boop down as well. Move the Reinhardt down into the courtyard. That would be really, really good. What you're doing here is also good. You're piling damage into their backline.
Here.
Supports.
Help or Ryan, Zebra.
Their Ana just stays in the choke. Massive misplay off
Come
of
to the
them.
left here. Care.
Soldiers on the left high
Respect
ground.
for the hook. Respect the hook. Watch out. Yeah, over here they're going through.
They're all going higher.
Okay.
Back up to the point.
Yeah, play point here.
Come back, come back.
Firefly, you should have gone to finish the Ana. The Rhine shouldn't have had to do that.
Behind you, Diva. I'm gonna go
Hog on point, no hook.
They're going up.
Hog on point, no hook. He's half. He's right.
I'm with you guys here.
Try to single
You
us
might
on
have
the
shatter
side.
soon.
He might not drop.
I'm about to get shattered too.
Alright, use it as
Yeah,
soon
my
as
shatter.
possible here.
I lost. Lost shield.
Ryan's low. Ryan 1. Ryan 1. Can someone kill him? I'm using my visor here.
That's a good ult.
Do it.
Now you want to brawl.
Come out.
That gives you an advantage. Brawl it out. Yep.
Oh, we didn't need that Valkyrie though, I don't think.
No, you didn't need the Valk. You didn't.
Soldier's still on high
Oh,
ground.
my bad.
The Transcendence was good. The Earth Shatter
That's all
may
good.
not have been necessary, but it cleaned it up just in
Okay,
case.
I guess we get 'em.
I would say you probably could have saved it.
You did. Okay, that's a good stagger here.
It's acceptable that you
I'm
used
down
it,
too, though.
but
Play it a little
from the
too
outside
dealing
point
with-
of view, looking at the ult economy now, they have 2 support ults and a DPS ult, and you've got nothing. So I would have hoped that you'd saved that shatter.
They used Diva Bomb, Hoggle. Did they use Shatter too?
No.
No.
So let's care for
They
the
definitely have it
Shatter
good.
for sure.
Use
They might
Viper.
have Valkyrie too.
My shield's half. I can't let it break shield.
I think they didn't use visor, right?
No, so we gotta care for
Is that-
that. The visor Shatter.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
Ryan, he's low, he's low.
That's
Got
unfortunate.
him. Hog,
Okay, how did that happen?
care for
Is that-
that. The visor Shatter.
Reinhardt just walked in and shattered.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
Ryan, he's low. Got him.
Just looking at the kill feed, both Reinhardts are down. Their Reinhardt gets rezzed.
Hog,
Your
come.
Reinhardt gets rezzed, but your Mercy dies for it. You shouldn't have gone to res the Reinhardt there. You should have waited for them to move on to point, and then maybe flew into the uncontested space to res him.
Mercy.
Hogs on point. Hogs on point. I need
Yeah.
help.
No healers. Just two.
I think.
2 of you.
I'm capturing the objective.
You didn't respect the shatter. I know it should be on Panda to try to block it or something like that, but you could have played the sight lines better. Playing around the rocks in the courtyard would have done great. I would have maybe hung out more back here rather than... Actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, I think Shatter could actually reach over this rock. Let's look at it again.
Shatter.
So, in this position, I think you guys were expecting them to go through the building, and the Reinhardt doubled back and just went directly for the Shatter, which is unfortunate. I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm tired again, or maybe it's just because I don't know enough, but I'm having a hard time with this, with analyzing this. I'm trying to think. What could you have done about this? I have to think about this, because I know there's always something you could have done. This is a very straightforward initiation. Okay. So, I think I have something. The first time they pushed, you know they went to the right and tried to contest this high ground. So when you see that they're coming this way, you all should have pulled back and gone up here to contest it. That's what you should have done. Then you wouldn't have been open to the shatter. That's why he doubled back, because he saw you were all there and he was able to just walk in and shatter you. So you should have responded to what they were doing here. And that would have you wouldn't have been doing it specifically to avoid the Earth Shatter, but it still would have been the right call, and as a side effect, the Earth Shatter wouldn't have gone through. Yeah, I think that would have been your best play. But he gets the Shatter off, which is free kills onto Panda,
Mercy.
and apparently
Hog's
Mercy.
on point. I need help.
Yeah,
No
this is
healers.
cleanup for them. You should,
Just two.
I think.
you know, commit to stalling or disengage, and at this point I would say disengage. Just reset. Jump off the map. Don't give them the ult charge.
Alright.
Ready. Get here. Taking the objective.
I think let's stay and set up. Yeah.
Ready to initiate counter.
So they still have visor, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, let's hold the high ground here.
Hog is coming up high ground. Rest of the team is too. So Reaper, be ready to back up.
Shield's half.
Okay.
I need to drop shield. I need to drop. Dropping.
Ooh, he juked
Shatter,
out that hook,
also maybe?
Firefly.
Are you in position for it, Firefly?
No, I can be.
They're
Okay.
going mid. Going mid.
Yeah, I don't think I need to tell you why that was a really bad
No,
teleport.
bad.
You shouldn't have done that. To be honest, I'm not sure you should have jumped off the high ground to begin with. I get that you were scared
Down, I'm down.
of
I'm getting out of there.
yeah.
Hello.
They pressed
and I'm
Q.
gonna
They
die.
nano-visored you. So let's see, what about your positioning you could have fixed
They're
to
going
not
mid.
get nano-visored? So right now, unfortunately, Firefly makes a huge misplay by teleporting up there. Big mistake, you get punished for it. You both have 4 ults, but 2 of theirs are support ults. So they nano-visor.
Going mid.
Oh, I got. Nah, that was bad.
Seeing that, ooh, this is a smart play. They're using nanovisor to make space for the tanks, rather than having the tanks make space for a DPS. That's really, really smart. That's why I'm wondering if their soldier is a smurf, because the way he plays and the plans he seems to be a part of, they are not consistent with the stuff that you would see at your level. So I don't know, man. It's sketchy. So you have to give them, I think you have to give them a tick here. You have to clump up behind the Reinhardt shield. Panda needs to move forward a little bit. Then you need to drop down the stairways and contest point from here. Hopefully by the time you did that, the soldier's tack visor would be almost worn off. Then you could make a slow push onto the point with your Earth Shatter and or self-destruct. That's what you should have done. Instead, you stood up on the high ground and let them nanovisor into you. Panda doesn't know which way to put his barrier, and everybody dies because of it.
Hello, and I'm gonna die.
It's gonna be taken. What do we think?
Yeah.
Alright.
You can't make us move.
If they do triple tank again, especially.
What I was gonna say
Like,
is,
if you can,
come on,
though,
start,
like, it's
start
so
to
much
think big
easier.
hitboxes.
Somber rock.
I'm not gonna do it.
Okay.
You know, I can actually try Joker right here. If you want to try that.
Yeah, just try that.
Yeah, try that.
Let's
That would be good.
let's just try stuff. See how it goes.
Oh god, there was a trap.
I broke the
He
mic.
didn't have a bomb on it though.
I feel like
No, I
I'm
broke
not
it
gonna
too.
try Fizzy on Joker and then I go another DPS as well.
They have a Symmetra again.
I should already have.
They are playing a spam comp, which means you cannot rely on barriers.
They got some.
Soldier is up in the window.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, just back up. Just back up at this point.
Crack.
Yeah, let's not die some more here. Oh,
Come back.
Again, what could you have done differently?
do,
There's
like-
always something you could have done differently. So you see the barrier breaks. Someone should be watching the high ground. I think it's actually, now that I think about it, it's inexcusable that he didn't get called out sooner. Someone should have called out soldiers on the high ground and get Fizzy up there to knock him off, because he can't be up there. It's the same deal as on King's Row. If you let him up there, he's going to frag out, and you're not going to be able to make progress.
Shield down.
So he gets the first pick from up there.
They got
Inexcusable that you didn't see him. Once that happens, your Mercy is dead. You're on attack into a spam comp. You just need to get out. You just need to back up now. Don't feed.
Soldier is up in the window.
Back out, back out, back out. You stood there for the spam, and you knew the barrier couldn't take it.
Yeah, let's not die some more here. Also, no, never mind.
Another Symmetra has
If you hear
teleporter.
Soldier in the window, like, Fizzy, can you just dive at him? Don't stay there. Don't stay there.
Shield's going down.
Also, yeah,
Soldier's in the
Mango, you
window
can
again.
spam him out up there
Low
too.
On the high ground.
Teleporter online.
Spread out, spread out.
Oh, Fizzy, you went a little bit too deep. You did the right
man,
thing
I
there,
was
but you
about
went
to
too
hit
deep.
that. My bad.
And now down
Friend.
here. Riptire is a tricky thing, because as far as I know, the only way to counter it is a good skill shot. Panda got scared of the Riptire and let Mango die too.
Oh,
That
man,
shouldn't have happened.
I was about to hit that. My bad.
I think he probably would have died to the Riptire anyways. Just let him kill you, Panda.
Oh,
Oh, you could.
I'm not sure how to play Reaper into this. Like, I'm not being very
Yeah.
You should.
Yeah, I have no
This is
input
where
for
my
that.
idea for the Bastion came up out of, because you didn't know how to play
They're
Reaper
just
into
saying you had
it.
a shield. Like, if you guys can spam it down, it's fine.
Okay, I'm gonna go.
They're spamming down my 2,000 health shield before you guys can spam down at 900. Like, literally just shoot at it.
I'm on it.
See? Oh, better.
I got my
Soldier's
own
in the
here.
window
You
again.
need to get
It's
someone on the
just
soldier.
Roadhog right here. Roadhog. Roadhog. Still low. Okay, I'm gonna ult here. Let's see how it goes.
Disengage.
Can someone
Don't push
that
into it. Don't push
soldier
into
off
it. Don't
above
push
down
into
here?
it.
And then I'm gonna
Never
ult.
push into a supercharger if you can help it. That's
No,
why
sorry.
Panda is dead now. And Fizzy, you did the right thing, but it was too late. It was just far too late.
Soldier off the high ground here. And then I'm gonna ult.
He jumped off of the high ground,
Sorry.
and then you went up, and you got knocked out of mech for free, and
Look out back.
you
Oh,
tried to do the right
go,
thing,
go, 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 go,
but it was
go.
too late. And also, again, you wasted a shatter trying to push into that.
We still have plenty
Did get
of
the
time.
Valk out, so that actually ended up being a favorable trade, but I still wouldn't have shattered. They had supercharger up. Unless the fight is already started and or you think you can kill the supercharger immediately, never try to initiate into a supercharger.
When
Can you
I ult,
pick it up the
maybe try to
window?
move closer to them to pressure them,
Shield's almost down.
so that there's more stuff. If we
Another
can survive
Riptire.
this, I'm gonna ult. Okay.
Okay,
The
Riptire
The
whiffed,
issue
that's
is that
good.
Soldier is
Here.
uncontested in this window, and
He's
supports
dead,
can't
he's
get
down, he's
anywhere
down,
near
soldier's
there.
down, soldier's down.
This would be one of those
Go, go, go.
situations where I think you would want to run,
I'm gonna ult here.
probably
Just do
Orisa Zarya is what I would run here.
Kill the Symmetra, kill the Symmetra.
Let me explain why. So, Orisa's shield is better at managing spam than Reinhardt is, because you can... Basically, your shield is regenerating while it's taking damage with Orisa, which is why it's preferable against spam. Reinhardt's shield is great for blocking key points of damage and micromanaging his barrier's health and using it at key moments. Orisa is better for managing spam damage, like what's happening now. So I actually probably would have put Panda on Orisa, which is where the Bastion thought had come from. And then you want to keep the Junkrat and out-spam them, I think. Oops, I didn't mean to go back 20 seconds. Just back up
Just
5.
do it.
Kill the Symmetra, kill the Symmetra.
They got their
Follows in,
Junkrat in the back.
follows in.
Junkrat needs to go. He's still on
See
that
him
high
go.
ground, uncontested.
I can't get past here. There's a hog.
Okay, just wait. We're back up. Come back here where they can't hit us, and wait for everybody.
Truck right up top.
Ready to initiate self-destruct sequence.
Let's see.
My shield's going down soon.
Soldier's in the window again.
Now would be a good time for Fizzy to... Yep, Fizzy, you
I'm
tried,
against
but
you
you
here.
mistimed your thrusters. That's really unfortunate, because it means he's going to get to keep the high ground.
Get this hog. Hog.
They're using all their ults because it's the last fight and they know it.
I was in
And
the air.
that was what I was laughing out loud at, because Panda actually apparently wasn't touching the point, which I think he should have been.
Which bit? I tried to. That was
Yeah,
if
so
I had less ping, I probably
I think that's the
would've made
last
this sort
map
of
that
thing.
I'm doing here right now. Yeah, it's just on that the rest of the time. So I'm very sorry that I was having a hard time analyzing the fights in this particular VOD. It was just, they were so messy and so one-sided. It just didn't feel like there was much you could do. It felt like you were getting mechanically and strategically outplayed, which is why I'm having a hard time giving you suggestions, because it feels like any suggestions I give you, it's still stuff that would help, but you still would have lost the fight. That's what it feels like. So I'm having a hard time trying to figure out what you could have done differently. And I think ultimately a lot of it really did come down to poor tank play in this particular game. I'm really sorry. I'm bullying Panda. I'm bullying Fizzy. But there were a lot... I'm not sure I ever really saw a terrific play made by the tanks this game. I saw terrific plays being attempted or being pulled off at bad times. I never really saw anything that made me say, yeah, you did a fantastic job with the tanks. And as far as everything else, you should definitely prioritize denying the enemy high ground advantage. Remember, a while ago, one of the things I said was... Overwatch is a game about fighting the enemy team, and before those fights break out, you want to make sure that you have as many advantages as possible, and the enemy has as few advantages as possible. And one of the ways you can make sure the enemy has one less advantage is by denying their DPS favorable high ground. One of the ways you can ensure you have an advantage is to make sure your DPS have favorable high ground. As far as tank-heavy lineups go, throw damage in there. Honestly, with something as spammy and tank-heavy as they were running, I seriously wouldn't have been afraid to pull out an attack bastion on 2 CP. I feel like it could have worked. I really do. Even if just for the surprise factor. So heroes like Pharah, Junkrat, Bastion, Reaper, they're all tank busters. Well, Pharah is technically not a tank buster, but tanks feed her ultimate. So, DPS like that you want to start piling on. As far as what to do against a very spammy comp like that is you want to take a Zarya, just because Zarya is fantastic with spam. A D.Va is another good option. I would say if you have a Winston on your team, switch it out for a D.Va if they're running something spammy. A D.Va or an Orisa. Because like I said, Orisa is much better at managing constant spam damage than Reinhardt is, because when Reinhardt's shield breaks, he's got to wait 4 seconds for it to start regenerating. Whereas if Orisa's shield breaks, depending on how well the Orisa has played her shield and how focused the damage is on the shield, the next shield could be 2 seconds away at full health. Also, you can use Fortify in between. That's like having 800 health, 400 of which is armor. It's really, really good, just to really hold your ground. I think that's kind of the conclusion, is all those separate things. The tank play was very weak. The tanks need to be on top of making plays on their own. And the damage against tank-heavy lineups, and Orisa into spam. Orisa Zarya into spam whenever you can. Those are the main things. Oh, and prioritizing high ground advantage. Okay. I think that's it. Again, I'm really sorry I had such a hard time analyzing these fights. They were all very, very messy as far as I could tell. Alright, well, I think hopefully you should still get something worthwhile from this VOD review, even though it was kind of all over the place because I was having a hard time with it. So, there you go.